Hello. Hi. Welcome to the light. Join me for my afternoon tea. I have a large cup of, let's see if I can share one large cup of tea with me. And I had a long week that I wanted to share with everyone. I had what I think is an important counseling session, sharing session. I want to get used to calling it a sharing session. I filmed it to share with everyone, but my intentions behind that is not to expose people. And so the person sharing with me got explicit at times and let some names slip out. And the purpose is not to be messy and exposing, and not that she was, but I just didn't want to look like that's what we're doing, because that's not the purpose. The purpose is to share with me. Sometimes people don't have someone to talk to, and or can't talk about certain things to certain people. And I want everyone that watches, I want to let you know that I am here. I am here as a safe place to express yourself and give you a voice. Because, in a listening ear, because I know sometimes our experiences in life are heavy. And sometimes they're too heavy for us to carry. And we all of us, need to safely get that junk out of your system. That's all. Because when we have bad experiences and we have bad memories and unpleasant things that happen to us out of either neglect or abuse, it stays on our mind. Sometimes we rethink it and rethink it and rethink it and relive it and relive it and relive it. It's not good. Don't do that. Talk to somebody. Discuss it with someone you trust. Doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be me. Someone that you know that doesn't mean you any harm in any way. That's the only purpose for me having, that's the only purpose for me to have sharing sessions with others. If you need that, please don't hesitate to leave me a message in my comments section and I'll return your message. And you can share and discuss anything that's weighing heavy on your heart or your head or even on your nerves. I will always be a listening ear. So this last sharing session was someone that I know and always known, but I never knew something about her, and she shared it with me. And I was sorry to hear that, but I could share with you the basis of our discussion. So we know that people get shifted through the cracks of getting help for themselves or someone else or family. It's a fact. And I have a lot of experience taking care of my sister. Over 10 years experience of just taking care of her, being diagnosed with a chemical imbalance. And I shared my experience also of her being labeled, all kinds of things. And after taking her to many hospitals, many psychologists, psychiatrists, from Los Angeles to San Diego, I finally investigated and did as much research as I could. I heard of this renowned psychologist in San Diego, and I brought her. And Social Security benefits do not cover specialists like this. So I paid for it out of my own pocket because I wanted her to be properly diagnosed. And I brought my sister there, and she gave the doctor permission for me to sit in, and he asked her a lot of psychological questions. I don't remember specifically. And at the end of his examination, he told me to show him all the medication she was on. They told me to bring it all. And I brought all the medication she was on. And it was about 6. He said, what you have here is a highly intelligent person that has a chemical imbalance. And he handed me 2 of the medicines she was on. These 2 medicines alone, he said, is enough to kill a horse. They're giving this to somebody that just has a chemical imbalance. And she had been labeled every crazy word, depressed, all kind of crazy labels, labeled crazy, and she just was. Wrongfully diagnosed and unfairly mistreated because of the stereotype. The stereotypes that they, put labels on for everybody. What it looks like, what the symptoms look like. But if you're on 6 medications that you don't need to be on, it probably is going to make you look crazy. So that's how unfair it gets. So my last counseling session, sharing session, was a person that was convinced to commit herself to a mental hospital. She was stressed out. She's highly educated, teacher, principal, lawyer, highly intelligent woman that admits openly that she was overwhelmed, studying hard, twice as hard, being an African American. She would study twice as hard. She always thought she had to. That pressure was on her to prove that she was intelligent as she thought she could be. Pressure, stress, perform, all these duties, all these positions, all these alphabets after your name can cause stress, exhaustion. And because of that, someone she trusted convinced her to commit herself to a mental hospital. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've been stressed out before. I have been exhausted before, many times, probably. I have probably been depressed before. I've probably definitely been depressed before. So, now, does that make you crazy? Does that make a person crazy? Does that mean that you're insane because you're exhausted? Does it make you insane because you show depression, feelings and emotions of that might look like depression? Does that make you insane? Or that mean you're just a human being and not a dang robot? Maybe we all need to stop sometimes and putting pressure on ourselves to be principals and lawyers. And demands on ourselves to be super women. No, instead, we get labeled for trying hard. We get labeled for pushing ourselves. We get labeled for caring too much and wanting to do more all the time. We get labeled instead of someone offering us support and care and nurturing and gentleness. We get called names. We get labels stuck to us. We start getting treated like second-hand citizens. It feels like, it's like someone taking advantage of Jesus Christ. When you come from a pure place and you're trying to do too much and you run around like a chicken without a head and just because you care and you want to do everything and be everywhere. So you get slowed down or you might get exhausted, and right when you're down and out of breath, somebody will come around and kick you. It's like treating Jesus the way they treated him. Pure heart, come around, try to do the best and give to others and heal people. They spit on him. They called him the worst. I'm just saying, blasphemy, all kind of stuff. Names, labels, poor treatment. How do you take advantage of Jesus Christ? Someone gentle that wants to heal you and share with you. The state of the world today. Today, I just hope that I remind everyone to be careful. Be careful who you're treating that way. Be very careful who you think you would treat that way. Be judgmental and quick to label and put people down. Be careful. Because God will wind up judging people that do that. God is the judge. So, I hope I remind us, myself and others, to treat people the way we would want to be treated, as the cliche. But because if we ever do get exhausted or depressed, that we could actually get care and support and love, and not be thrown around into some hospital and be forgotten about and drugged to death. The mentally ill have less rights than a criminal. That's how it was said to me. And I could see that. Criminals have the right to attorney, right to free representation, all this, and not the mentally ill. They are thrown in a mental hospital, drugged up, and forgotten about. Labeled and drugged and forgotten about. Or just fell through the cracks and on the street, homeless, living horribly. Like an animal in the wilderness, roaming the street, homeless. Without proper nutrition, food, clothing, shelter. They're being labeled for it. I hope I can remind others that there's no way to treat another human being. And if it was you, if it was us, if it was someone we love dearly, You wouldn't want them to treat you that way. You would not want someone to treat your child that way. You wouldn't want someone to treat your mother that way. It's abuse. They're neglected and abused. Most of mentally ill people are just been neglected, getting proper support and love, or abused and never got support or proper care and nurturing. Instead, they have been judged, shifted through all the cracks, and neglected. And left for dead. If you see this, some of the homeless people, anything can happen to them. And the drugs that they give them will make you psychotic. If you weren't psychotic, if you see the drugs that they are giving people are hallucinogenics. That will make you crazy. Taking hallucinogenics every day, of course you're going to look crazy. So it's a real issue in the world that has been tremendously ignored in today's society. I mean, out of hand. I stayed by my sister's side because we didn't know. I didn't know what she had. I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to school for that, medical school. All I simply knew was that I cared about my sister. And I would not leave her alone anywhere. If she had to go to a mental hospital, I took her. And I stayed with her until we saw a doctor. And they just gave her prescriptions, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know. So I made my responsibility to find out. I took her to a specialist and I paid for it. So I could say that it helped at the time, but all the medication she was given over the years had kicked in and taken its toll. So it doesn't make them better. You know, it's not a recovery for people that have gone too far on that course. So all you could do is show them as much love and support as you can. but they're not going to bounce back and be the person they were when they were a teenager. They suffered through misdiagnosis and medication that could kill a horse, and mental hospitals making bad experiences for them, and trauma causes trauma, not healing. Causes even more trauma. If you have the opportunity to offer some healing, some peace, some comfort, some support, real love to somebody you know in that situation, please do. If it could make a difference, please let it. If you know all that you did all that you could, at least you could sleep at night. It's the only reason I could sleep at night. I did everything for my sister for years, over 10 years. Anything, everything, whatever I could do, stay by her side. So, my sharing session was to show support to someone that's been through that and give them a listening ear and let them know they're not being judged, they're being supported. And it's a safe place to come to express that and get it off their chest, and off their heart, and out of their head. You don't have to relive it anymore. It's okay. God heard you, and He saw everything. He knows. God knows. So, if you could share some kind of peace like that with someone, please do. If I could remind us to be mindful of people that are stressed out or overwhelmed or even depressed. Don't label them crazy because they have human emotions. Why? You don't feel sad sometimes? You don't feel exhausted sometimes? You don't feel you have feelings? Every human being. That's every human being. You don't get angry sometimes? I hope we're not judging people to this horrible extent. You're causing trauma for people if you're putting that kind of pressure on them after they're experiencing pressure. Don't do that to nobody, because you would not want somebody to do that to you. I hope you could be more sympathetic than that. Please, everybody be sympathetic with people's disposition. Please. We could all do better for each other, with each other, because of each other. That's all I just try to remind people too. Let's get this better. Let's get this better. We have to be sick of looking around, going out into society and looking around and seeing this. Conditions of the earth. It's deplorable. Let's work on it. Let's work on it. If anybody wants to discuss anything with me and have a sharing session, I could promise you that it's in confidence, and leave me a message and I'll get back with you on any subject. And any subject. It's okay. Nobody told you today, I love you. I love you. God loves you. We're going to do better. We are. To care for others. To care for each other. We're going to do better. God bless. Love and light.